Pimlico, the place to be in horse racing later today. The 150th running of the Preakness Stakes set to get started at hair past 7 p.m., 7:01 to be exact. We will not see an attempt at the Triple Crown this year because Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty is not in the field. Trainer Bill Mott says plans to race at Belmont. Journalism is in the field. The morning line favorite at 8 to 5. And let's go ahead and take a look at some of those odds. Of course, goal-oriented 6 to 1. As we mentioned, Journalism 8 to 5. American Promise 15 to 1. Heart of Honor 12 to 1 as these go down the line there. Of course, this year's purse, a whopping $2 million, matching last year's record-breaking purse. Gene Menez, our horse racing expert, joining us now for a look at today's race. And Gene, each leg of the Triple Crown is special and unique in its own right. But when you think about the Preakness, what stands out to you?
You know, the Preakness is really the redheaded stepchild of the Triple Crown, if you think about it, right? The Kentucky Derby, everybody knows the Kentucky Derby. Everybody wants to win the Kentucky Derby. It's one of the greatest sporting events in the world, not just in the United States. And then the Belmont Stakes is the chance to crown a Triple Crown champion. It's actually called the Test of the Champion. There's a whole lot of buildup to that race if the Kentucky Derby winner also wins the Preakness. The Preakness is stuck kind of in between, not the Derby, not the Belmont, and it kind of has that identity of, you know, just kind of being lost in the shuffle a little bit. That said, the Preakness has produced some incredible races over the years. I remember Sunday Silence and Easy Goer. There was the three-way photo finish between Silver Charm and Freehouse and Captain Bodge in 97. And then, you know, we've got the Triple Crown winners, American Pharoah and Justify, winning at Pimlico over the last decade. So even though it's kind of the redheaded stepchild, I wouldn't look away from the race today.
Redheaded stepchild, yet it's the second leg. You can't win the Triple Crown without it. Unbelievable that it's viewed that way. Now, of course, this is the shortest track of the three big races. How does that affect strategy and handicapping going into the event?
You know, it doesn't really affect it, even though the Derby horses are cutting back in distance from 1.25 miles to 1 3/16. The other horses, the other 6 horses in the Preakness field, are actually stretching out in distance. So even though the track or the distance of the race is shorter than the Derby, it's longer than what these other horses have been running. So you really kind of have to factor all of this in when you're handicapping. You know, speed figures, class, pace figures, and the distance of the distance of the race is only one small factor that you have to figure in.
Now, I know you had a good day at the Kentucky Derby, so let's start talking about some of your best bets when it comes to today's race. And let's start with who your horse to win this race is going to be.
All right, so there's a little bit of nuance to this, Mike, right? So, you know, if my life depended on picking a horse to win the Preakness Stakes, I'm going to pick Journalism because, you know, he's the class of the field. We saw what he did in the Kentucky Derby. Even though he finished second, he didn't lose anything in defeat. He went in there as the favorite. He's run 3 races that are better than any that these horses have run. However, he's going to be even money on when the odds when he leaves the starting gate on the odds. He was actually 8 to 5 in the morning line. He's not going to be that. He's going to be even money or even less than even money, and I don't like that, especially for a horse who's turning around in 2 weeks. We know Sovereignty is not running in the Preakness Stakes because of the short turnaround. We don't know how that's going to affect Journalism. So even money 4 to 5 is not the kind of value I want. He's the horse to beat, but the horse to bet is Clever Again. Clever Again is a lightly raced horse trained by Steve Asmussen. He's coming off 2 fast wins at Oakland Park in Arkansas. Both of those, however, were setting moderate paces on the lead. I'm not sure he's going to get that kind of setup today. However, he's improving. His last race was in the ballpark of what Journalism has run. He's drawn perfectly on the outside, and he's bred to like the distance. So I anticipate as the horses turn for home today that you're going to see Clever Again in front and Journalism trying to chase him down, making for an exciting stretch run in the Preakness Stakes.
All right, so that was your nuanced exacta. What about your trifecta here?
So my trifecta is going to be those two horses. We're going to play Journalism and Clever Again in the top two spots, 1 and 2. And then we're going to play them over River Thames. And River Thames is trained by Todd Pletcher. Todd Pletcher has never won the Preakness Stakes, which is kind of crazy because he's a Hall of Fame trainer. He's won just about every race. This is basically the only major race that he's never won in his career. River Thames had enough points to run in the Kentucky Derby, but the Connections decided to bypass that race because they didn't think he would excel at the distance and go ahead and point to the Preakness Stakes. I think that time off is going to help him, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him right there at the end when the horses turn for home. So we're going to have Journalism, Clever Again, 1, 2, and River Thames in the third spot in the trifecta.
All right, again, start time 7:01 later this evening. Gene, thank you so much for your insights on the Preakness Stakes. Don't forget, head over to sportsline.com/join. Take advantage of the 7 days free using that promo code HORSE.